Safe area entered.
Huh.
Agent killed.
Agent killed. Hey, worm. Hey. I'll kill cop.
Okay.
Need ammo, I know that.
Hostile supply convoy detected.
With the pack. Oh.
Thanks for doing this, Father. Thank you for giving Michael a Catholic burial. Since he lost his mother last month, he's been coming to Mass and doing daily prayers. I know it means a lot to him to be buried with the sacrament. Of course. It's important to get along with the mother of a friend. His wishes didn't have to happen so simple. I'm not sure I can do this much longer, Father. Many have said the same thing in the past.
Oh, these guys are shit.
But still endured and came out stronger on the other side. You're already much stronger than you think.
Shit, they much stronger than what I am. Gotta figure out plan B.
Enough. When I see them look at you, I can see the fear dissipate. Their backs straighten, the fire in their hearts reignite. They look at you and feel hope, Roy. Every single day. Don't forget that.
Who are you?
What you on a division?
Yeah. I don't know what they.
What was that?
Check it around. That can be like,
Kill me. Yo, boys.
Serious trauma detected.
Over that bitch. One's for health.
Hostile control point detected.
That's a grenade!
Vital signs critical.
Bitch.
Agent vital signs 0. Heavily armed. Hostile supply convoy nearby.
Fuck his health.
to a clan.
Alright.
I understood. Are we in a clan or not?
Ooh.
Us. Are you in a clan in this game or not?
I think so, but I don't know. I never played with them yet. One of my boys was like, "Oh, just hop on to get me to the clan," but I never actually played with them niggas.
You're still here? It's Rick Velasquez with Wouldn't You Know It? And I'm glad you stuck around.
Oh, he's alive. Okay.
You people from much beyond your years. Well, listen up. Because I need your help. I'm running low on power supplies and all sorts of other crap. And without them, I'm off the air. So...
Immediate medical assistance needed. Agent killed.
We can do this! I'm down!
Safe.
as they so-called dub it.
Right.
I mean,
right.
for certain games you'll be fine, but like other games, like recent games, it's not going to be the best performance. So they're aiming to at least give that, at the highest end, that nice smooth, at least 1080, 60 frames per second, or 1440, 60 frames per second experience at least on most games. So we'll see what that hardware upgrade looks like. Because honestly, they're gonna have to like step up their game, because as these cloud gaming services become more robust, they're gonna lose the spot there. Because the best selling point is the fact that it's a full-blown PC, right? Like, you're essentially renting out a PC
Right.
in the cloud, and it's a pretty decent gaming PC, so to speak. Right? It's not like it's terrible. It's pretty good. It's serviceable for a lot of things. You're not gonna have any problems playing any of the games, but you might not get the best performance in all the games. Because it's a little bit behind in the hardware department. And for $30 a month, you're talking about being more expensive than services like GeForce Now and shit like that. So it's like they need to find somewhere to get it, because people are only getting a Shadow PC really because they want to play games. That's what they're getting it for. Not getting it for like just to have a PC. You can get something cheaper if you just want a cloud PC. Shit, you can go to Microsoft and get probably cheaper.
Yeah,
So
that
it's like-
Microsoft 365. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, people aren't getting Shadows for just basic PC. They're getting Shadow because they want to play games on it. And it's currently the only service that any game currently is compatible with it, which is nice. But it don't matter if your games are all compatible with it if the shit is a shitty experience in terms of gaming, and nobody's gonna want it.
What game is having a shit experience right now?
What happened?
What game you having a shit experience with Shadow?
No, I'm saying like, as stuff becomes more demanding, like hardware, right? Like, I wouldn't probably play, like, obviously I got Assassin's Creed, the option of playing it on GeForce Now. I'm probably not gonna, I'm sure Valhalla and Origins and fucking, what's it called? Odyssey is probably not the best experience on here, because that requires some demanding hardware. Which the hardware on this is definitely not up to par, so to speak. So it's one of those things where it's like you have this hardware that is like I said, it's serviceable for a lot of things, but if you're gonna rent a PC for $30 a month, you got to compare it to like services, which really is cloud gaming services, which offer kind of right now not the wide selection being compatible with every game, but a lot of games that are in GeForce Now, they got a lot of recent stuff, and they're going to continue to add stuff too. So that's going to put Shadow in a tight spot when you got GeForce Now, able to output at 4K 60 frames per second, no problem, with RTX, with all this other shit that you're not able to offer. And as that library becomes deeper, right? Like $30 a month, you're talking about like $360 a year. Compare that to the RTX tier for Nvidia, it costs you $200 a year, right? So you got to be able to compete with that. As Nvidia adds more games, it's going to be harder for Shadow to compete with them. You feel me?
Think so? I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. Because, like I said, nobody's getting a Shadow to do basic PC stuff on it. Like, nobody's getting a Shadow to do basic PC stuff. People are getting a Shadow to play games. That's why I have a Shadow, to play games. I don't got a Shadow to fucking do all kinds of other shit on it. I got a Shadow to play games. It's marketed as a cloud gaming. So if Nvidia's library continues to grow and they offer recent games and they start getting more deals with publishers where you're gonna have these games day one available on GeForce Now, then yeah, things like Shadow are gonna be in trouble. Because GeForce will just do it a lot better. You're talking about GeForce Now having the ability to do 120 frames per second at 1440 and 4K 60 frames per second with HDR and all this other stuff, which Shadow cannot do. Shadow cannot do HDR at the moment. So, like, you're missing a lot of features that GeForce already has. Like they're already behind GeForce now in terms of like, what they offer graphically and performance wise. And GeForce Now is also a lot simpler. Like if people are just looking to play games, like GeForce Now, you pop it in. You don't have to download games. You don't have to worry about managing. That's another thing too with the Shadow. Is they also right now don't even have the ability for you to buy any more storage because their storage is just like maxed out. They just don't have the hardware. GeForce Now, that's not a problem. I go on GeForce Now, I fire up the game, it's ready to go. Any game that's on there. So, like, yeah, bro. They if they don't upgrade the hardware to something respectable in the summer, and Nvidia, that's also a long time frame between Nvidia to add games to their service too.
All right, guys, if you can't tell by your inboxes, it is obviously launch day for the RTX 3050, a graphics card that when was announced, initially I was kind of excited because it means more affordable options, but if you took a look at the way things were going with AMD's 6500 XT, then obviously we were approaching this one with a little bit of
games that come out are always on GeForce Now.
Optimism and skepticism at the same time. But we have all the data here, let's talk about it. NZXT's build is a quick and easy way to get a new gaming computer, and right now they're proud to announce expansion and availability to Australia, the Netherlands, France, and Italy. Build a gaming PC on your budget using the built-in configurator and see exactly how your favorite games will perform. Want to build your own PC but still have the NZXT Peace of Mind warranty? Then the new BLD Build It Yourself kit has what you want. Buy it and build it yourself, and NZXT has you covered. To get started configuring or building your next gaming PC, visit the build link in the description below.
They've seen the benefits of the PC.
So this isn't going to be one of those silly videos where I'm just kind of walking around acting like an idiot like I do every single day. I'm just going to try and get this video done and get it out the door so that we can move on. Also too, if you guys haven't really noticed by now, you haven't heard much about the 3090 Ti, that's because well, my anonymous sources have it that it is being postponed until either February, maybe even March. So we're not going to be seeing 3090 Ti in January, which is fine. We shouldn't be seeing it, period. Moving on, the 3050. It's an interesting card in that it's the first time Nvidia has put RTX on a 50 series graphics card. Now, this is only the second generation of RT, or ray tracing, and we had it on the 2060 and up on the Turing edition of graphics cards, or the 20 series cards. And now, on Ampere, we have seen it take a year and a half since they launched it, but now they have RTX on a 50 series card, which makes it interesting when it comes to comparing it because of the fact, if you recall with 20 series cards, they had their RTX lineup and a GTX lineup, and it looks like this time around they have completely kind of done away with the GTX naming, and they've just created an entire stack of nothing but RT cards, and the entry-level card being this right here, the RTX 3050. Now, the 20 series cards, they started, like I said, 2060 and up, and then we had the 1650, 1650 Super, 1660, 1660 Super, and the 1660 Ti. Those 5 cards, before we, that's 5, right? 50, Super, 60, Super, Ti. Yeah, those 5 cards before we ever even... Those 5 cards before we ever even got to the RTX cards. So when it comes to comparing this one, it's kind of interesting. We'll talk about specs, we'll talk about the comparing methodology, and then whether or not you guys should even buy it after you take a look at our benchmarks. So spec-wise, they're comparing it to a 1650, and this is where I'm going to start to kind of get a little bit cynical in this video because of the fact that that's a fast one. Because comparing a 1650 to a 3050 is not a fair comparison at all. It's going to make things look a lot better on paper than they actually are, because like I said, there are 4 cards between the 1650 and the 2060 on 20 series. So now Nvidia this time around wants to say, oh yeah, well this is a 50 series card, so we're going to compare it to the 1650 series cards. And no, you can't do that, because realistically, in terms of the tier hierarchy, it would really be more like a 1660 Super / Ti, where it would line up at being just under the 60 series card. So because we have less cards in the product stack this time, it's almost like they're stacking the deck and making it looking better than it actually is by trying to have you believe you should be comparing it to a 1650. But spec-wise, since they're doing that anyway, graphics processing clusters, 2 for both, 2,560 CUDA cores on the 3050 versus 896 on the 1650. So obviously it's a much higher card. Ray tracing aside, DLSS aside, just raw performance compared to a 1650. It's going to be much better at 1080p gaming, much higher FPS, probably better texture resolution, across the board, higher resolution on your gaming, not high resolution, but higher settings on your gaming, which means you're going to get a better gaming experience than a 1650. As it should, it's the latest generation of graphics card and the latest generation of core design. Memory, though, it's got twice as much. It's got 8 gigabytes of GDDR6 versus 4 gigabytes of GDDR5 found on the 1650. Now, core clock, the black edition that we have right here from EVGA, the black, which is kind of like their entry-level card, they only kind of go up from there, has a boost clock of 1777 versus a boost clock of 1665 found on the 1650. Clock for clock, generation to generation is not necessarily directly comparable. These are just specs that they're throwing out there to try and give you an A and B comparison. It's going to look way better on paper than it really should be because of the fact that, like I said, they're much farther spread tier of card than they're making it look here. And this is where I get a little upset with Nvidia and their marketing, and that they're really like selling you snake oil. I find it to be a really dirty practice. Anyway, moving on, 8 gigabytes is obviously better than the 4 gigabytes found in the 1650, and there's a lot of arguments whether or not 4 or 8 is better, etc., etc. Yeah, 8 gigabytes definitely going to be better than 4 when it comes to texture resolutions and high-res texture packs and such. 8 gigs should be the minimum this time around. Now, when we talk about our testing methodology here, I already explained to you the product stack differences. You cannot compare a 1650 to a 3050 simply because of the price alone. The 1650 had an debut MSRP price, which was available at the time because we didn't have nearly as much crap going on then as we do today, of $160. They would have you believe that we, as third-party independent reviewers, should compare generation to generation a $160 graphics card versus a $250 graphics card. And to that, I say that is completely bullshit. That is not the way we do this. We compare price point to price point. You can call it whatever you want, and you can manipulate the potential buyer and consumer by having you believe, naming and number-wise, the way something compares to each other. But at the end of the day, the only comparison that should make things an equal playing ground is price. The second half about that price discussion that sucks is obviously the only people that are going to get this for $249 MSRP are going to be the very first people that are able to buy it, and then obviously from there, there's going to be marking up and scalping, and that's if the retailers themselves don't take advantage of marking it up and scalping. So with that, I decided to run a couple of tests and see where it was initially comparing and landing closest to score-wise, and that actually ended up being a 1660. Not a Super, not a TI, not a 50. Not a 50 Super, but a 1660. The MSRP of note, both are within a couple of dollars of each other, and performance was there as well. So we compared it to a 1660, and here's how it looks.
Nvidia has the Tegra.
Steven, did you know TurboTax is free no matter how you want to file?
So, I can, and for Nintendo to go to Nvidia,
it's true.
Was
anyone with
too,
a simple tax
Nintendo
return can get help from an expert
AMD,
for free.
GPUs up until that point.
That
the Wii.
It is. And with TurboTax Live, our experts will even pay your taxes for you for free.
All those things with AMD, honestly, like all that next generation stuff was AMD until they got to the Switch.
For a limited time, TurboTax is free for simple returns, no matter how you file.
And they got to the Switch, and it was the Nvidia Tegra. And I'm sure, Switch has
okay, let's get you ready
been
to
a
fight.
very popular console. Switch has sold like over 120 million units up until this
Every
point.
fight live stream on the dark web.
So
thousands of viewers placing bets as we speak.
They made money off that
take your brand to a whole new level.
I think there's been some sort of confusion.
And that's good because that only fuels.
Usually you gotta fight your way to central ring. But a viral star like you, found a line, baby.
I'm not here to
who
fight.
Knows? The Nvidia might get back into the console game too. But I don't think they're really too concerned with that because they're more.
We just lost a fighter at the last minute,
the mobile
so
department.
You get the next slot.
And the desktop department. So and that's where it's at because consoles are like honestly like a dying breed anyways.
They're dying.
They're a dying breed. Like even the console makers know. That's why they're like you see how it changed over time. Never back in the day, never would you see like PlayStation or Xbox bring any of their console exclusives to anywhere else. Now you're talking about Xbox really doubling down on cloud gaming for themselves. You know, the consoles are gonna be, put it this way, the consoles will be a nice option for people to, you know, if they want like a little media player, right? Like you get a console and you can stream your cloud games to it. But I don't think it's gonna be like a push for like having crazy hardware all the time for them. I think they might, like, I think they're still gonna exist, but they're not gonna be their main, you know, it's not gonna be like, oh, we need to sell these consoles. Nah, because, you know, Sony is bringing their ports over to PC because everybody's starting to see too, like, the benefits of PC and cloud gaming, right? Like, all these companies, Sony bringing their games to PC, Capcom talking about making PC their main platform. You know, you got Xbox